I don't know, man. Like, still $8.
It looks like Shaq holding a regular.
It's so big. It goes around the can twice.
Grab 6 Is this a beer for ants?
Well, like the stubby cores, paper beers, were like $10, but a 12-pack of the Miller Lite King cans, $10.
Cheers and welcome from Behind the Barcast, the podcast for works in the service industry, drinking and general and finding part-time jobs. I'm Paxton Eugene. We got Coors Light Kelly over there on the ones and twos. Look at your little Coors Light can. It's a Coors Light Mini.
It's so teeny.
For when you want a light Coors Light.
A very light Coors Light. It's almost empty again.
Coors barely there.
Yeah.
I mean, you can run down and grab yourself some more anytime you need to. It's just that looks like two sips.
Yeah.
It's the size of the Starbucks double shot espresso in the can.
Yeah. You're not getting the same blast off with this, though.
Well, cheers to that anyways.
Yeah,
I've got my iced coffee here. We asked last week, after you cheers a shot, the tapping on the table.
Yeah.
What could it possibly mean? Well, thanks to our community and thanks to our friend Ellie up in the ATL.
Right on.
She's given us an answer, or a possible answer, but this answer seems very plausible to me. So if you guys agree or disagree, let me know. But, there's a respect of cheersing your friend and looking him in the eye and shit. But then the tap on the table is apparently respect to the establishment. Like we've respected each other with the eye contact and with the cheers, and then we tap the table to respect the establishment that they're
That's
in.
fair.
It seems very plausible.
Yeah. I'll go with that. I never thought of it that way. It was just...
Well, most people that I cheers with up at my work don't respect the establishment that much, so it doesn't apply there.
You got to respect yourself first.
You know what? That's right.
But no, I never... It was just something I always did. It was just a learned habit. There was no explanation. It was just something watching other people do.
Whatever the purpose may be, or whatever the... I don't know, the etymology of it. No, that's for words. Whatever.
Entomology?
I'm not trying to be smart. I'm stupid. A word, whatever the origin of doing it is from, whatever purpose it serves. I doubt 80% of the people who do it now do it for a purpose. It's just, like you said, muscle memory.
It is, for me, definitely. And it would be something that I don't like doing things just for the sake of doing things. It would be nice to understand why I'm doing it, not just be joining in.
We'll see. It's like a Tarantino movie. Like what's in the briefcase? It's shiny.
Right.
So to you, if it means that you're respecting the establishment, now you have something to put to it, or you can make up your own thing.
Well,
and be like, I like the bottoms of things to touch.
I like that. I like that idea better than going with it's good luck. Of some sort, or it's like if I don't do it, I'm fucked.
Or like birds are real, or the earth is round.
Yeah.
All
like if I don't do it now, then something bad could happen.
Do you have little stitions like that?
I'm not traditionally superstitious at all.
Well, when a car goes by without a headlight, I kiss my fingers.
I do too.
I don't know
but
why.
I punch the roof.
I see. I don't do the whole punching.
Not like bam. But...
So you said you don't like doing things for no apparent reason, but you just described a thing.
Exactly. Too. And I'd like to explain why. Because what was the other thing where you're going down the road and someone doesn't have their headlights on, and if you give them the brights, they kill you?
Oh yeah, that was like
that a gang thing.
That was like a gang initiation thing. That might be an urban legend, but
Maybe.
I'm sure it happened somewhere.
But I still do it. And if it
was that the Ricky Gervais gang of Savannah?
I was going to SCAD in the early '90s when he was still a thing, and I don't know if that was where it was born out of, but I'd read enough and seen enough on TV and fictional or not, that they would bring it up.
Plausible.
I mean, I don't want to kill. if I get killed over because of trying to let somebody know their lights
are on. My lights off. I don't want to get arrested.
That's my concern.
I'd rather die than I'd rather get shot.
I'd rather die than go to jail. Frankly, just kill me now.
I'd rather get shot in gangland than go to fucking jail. A lot of our community. Well, I imagine some of our community, our podcast listening community, probably listens to other podcasts. One of them being Bill Burr, maybe.
Okay.
And over the years, so as to not seem like I'm stealing his bit, but he's talked about this 1,000 times, but I haven't experienced it yet.
All right.
So what he talks about is like he'll be on his podcast, and he mostly does it alone. Sometimes he has guests, but it's mostly alone. So he'll go to look up either like if a listener writes in and says something about, I don't know, a news story, and he goes to look it up, instead of seeing the story, it's always like, well, it was a cold autumn day. And there's all this dumb exposition that you don't need. If he's looking up recipes for things, it's like, focaccia bread. It reminds me of my Italian grandmother. When I was 3 years old, it's like, just get to the fucking recipe.
Yeah.
I experienced that today.
Okay.
I was like, I made focaccia like 2 or 3 years ago, and it was amazing. Yeah. And I guess since I was thinking about it, my YouTube algorithm just started feeding it to me because it can read my mind. The Neuralink is real. Yeah. And I was like, ooh, I want to make one. But every video that I would start would be like 16 minutes long. Right. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to look up the recipe on Google. Yeah. You pop it open. No, there's no recipes on Google. It's a fucking story. And then by the time you scroll through the story about their Italian grandmother and how the dog died the day before and how the weather was the day that their grandmother made this bread for him, now you've got 16 fucking ads all across the screen of your phone.
Yeah.
So
there's not just a straight recipe.
I'm sure there's somewhere, but it's not
in
the top.
Spoonful of that.
No. I'm sure there is one somewhere, but it's not in the top 5 to 10 search results of Google.
Interesting.
It's buried somewhere. So I'm going to do a service. So I've got the recipe memorized now. I'm gonna make a website that's just, hey, here's the fucking recipe.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good name. Yeah, I'm gonna get that.
When you do make it, as I got the yeast for it. Which, I mean, is outside of making beer, do you use yeast really for anything else except for, making bread?
Use it for infections.
Really? I thought it was an infection.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Fight fire with fire.
I got the text as I was nodding off on the couch because I was still in Middle Earth. Whole other story. and
Kelly's been binging The Rings of Power, which I haven't watched yet, but we talked about that enough last night, but continue.
Yeah, but so I go to the IGA, and I'll give props to the IGA. They do pack a lot of punch for that little amount of space. Yeah. The produce is up and down, blah, 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 and all that, but they got basically everything you need. And it's funny when people are on vacation yapping about what they don't have, and you must want to just put a hand on their shoulder like, you're lucky we have this much on this island, and we have it. So I'm looking for the yeast, and I'm right there where it should be, the baking goods section, where the flour cornstarch. I'm going back and forth between the gelatin, back towards the McCormick stuff and all that, but it was on the very, very, very floor. So I call you, and I'm like, have you bought yeast at the IGA before? I mean, I'm not saying they don't have it, but I can't see it.
Yeah. And I said, the little 3-packs, they're all stuck together.
And they were exactly what you said they were.
Well, but let's not forget. We were on the phone together. I was like, maybe you could ask an associate, and you're like,
which social Kelly? Anxiety ramped to 9.
Which Kelly? I understand. If you'd have done the same to me, I'd be like, that's impossible.
They don't have it.
I would have walked out the store right there.
Well, you even offered I'll go off island to get it, and that's what I was like. You know what? If I have to ask the dude, I will. But no.
You stuck in there.
It was. I looked downward. It was all the stuff I usually want at high level. I'm not 1 to 12 at the bottom floor.
They normally fixate or set up things like that where all the sweet sugar cereals are down on the ground closer to the kids' eyes.
Yeah. But the yeast, it was right there on the floor. And maybe it's something about my OCD-ishness of sorts. But
it shouldn't be on the bottom rack.
But it's in a package. Of course, it's clean.
Not only that.
But the idea of going to the front of the store... it's like price check on tampons.
Price check on herpes medicine.
Yeah, Vagisil or something like that. It just even has yeast infection. But
what's the hemorrhoid cream at now?
Yeah, Bob. Hey, got a guy over here.
Needs hemorrhoid cream. He says he's flaring.
But I'm going through this range of emotions which are completely irrational. This journey in 30 seconds with you on the phone, and it's like I know you didn't ask me to do it to mess with me, but I'm sitting there thinking, that's why I called you. I was like, have you bought yeast here? I mean, do they have it? Is this a futile journey?
It's like sending the new guy to get the board stretcher on a construction site. It's like it's a fool's errand. Is that what you
exactly.
thought it was? Yeah.
Was it to put me in a spot so you could snicker and giggle about it?
You're like, well, just go ask an associate.
Yeah, and
I heard the blood drain out of your body when I asked you to go. No.
That's when I exerted my efforts or whatever.
Yeah, because you kept saying you're like, I'm still looking. I was like, okay, we don't have to.
but no, driving Breezy occasionally. We used to do deliveries a lot more. We're a little more picky and choosy about it because some people will send you a damn grocery list.
Go to you.
Sorry. Some people will send you a grocery list of things that they want. I don't mind stopping by the convenience store. And there's no such thing as going into the IGA and saying, I'll be back in just a minute. It's impossible because you have no clue what's going on in there.
You don't know how long the line is?
Any number of things, what they're looking for, all sort of stuff.
Whether there's actually yeast there.
But a coworker of yours, hit me up, from Poos, and needed a variety of some things from the First Choose convenience store, and all right, cigarettes, some I guess blunt wraps, whatever you want to call them,
White Owls,
Owl, yeah, that kind of thing,
whatever brand,
and tampons.
Shut up.
Now, I don't want to say no because it's a friend and all that. So we get asked things and all that. I know it's like the flow's going, you need it. I get it. But that's it. Not that it's Breezy going above and beyond, but that's one of those kind of things. Like, you kind of put me.
That's a big ask.
Maybe it's just an old joke. Maybe it's not really anything anymore.
Yeah, you're probably thinking more about it.
It's probably it was like the Vagisil thing from me, myself, and Irene. Was that the movie with?
Oh, we're going. Yeah.
But you got a little too much cheese on the taco.
Okay.
But you're going up there and you're plopping down. So I need a pack of these American Spirits. I need some White Owl mangoes and
heavy flow Kotex.
And the worst thing was I didn't know where they were, so
I
had to ask the lady at the counter.
Hey, they're not for me.
Yeah, well, obviously, but there's also there's the insert, and then there's the pad, which I had to delineate. Which one do you have? Because the girl, I'm not going to say her name, bless her little heart, but she wanted the
insert,
pads, I think. But she said she was willing to do with either. I was hoping to do with neither, frankly. But like I said, I had to go to the counter, and I'm just blushing. I'm like, all right, I need some mango White Owls.
Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, up to I don't know. I think I haven't gotten to tampons for anyone in a long time, but.
Well, it's not like I'm, in a relationship where I'm browbeaten. It's like, you're going to buy my tampons.
No, understood. But also, you're in a work capacity, so it's just like.
Well, I think probably the oddest thing that it's probably the most embarrassing thing that I had to buy was some hemorrhoid cream.
Yeah.
For a friend.
That's a thing because you can be like, oh, it's not for me all day. But they're like,
yeah,
okay,
that's the oldest adage. It's like, it's really not for me.
It's for a friend.
And thank God I'm wearing like my Breezy garb. I got the hat on, so it looks like at least working.
I was going to say, at least you got the uniform on.
Yeah, so, there's plausible deniability here, but there are embarrassing products that we get asked to buy occasionally, but a little hemorrhoid, a little preparation H is... Tampons are what they are. Yeah. It's not because I'm a browbeaten. You're like, you're going to buy my feminine products for me, Kelly. This was one of those things where, hey, man.
Convenience store, Kelly.
Well, this wasn't the convenience store. I had to go to the IGA. But I was just waiting because I couldn't find it. And I'm waiting for the call over the mic. Can we get somebody up front?
We got a guy, Kelly.
Breezy guy here.
Breezy guy, Kelly.
Yeah.
104 5th Street looking for some...
And the request was for the biggest two they had. I guess there's maybe a smaller convenience store size, toothpaste, travel size.
Yeah.
But apparently there was an issue.
They said we need the gallon
We
size.
need the biggest. I need the biggest one they got. So I had to explain this to the lady. I was like, this can't be that little travel size toothpaste one. I need the big baby. The one that may not get you on a plane big.
Right, yeah. We're really flaring.
Yeah.
At that point, lean into it, like, I'm just gonna boof the whole thing.
Yeah, I just, and I got a great tip. One of the best tips I ever got, for it.
I would hope so.
For the slightly embarrassing factor part of it. But it's just you don't want to talk about your butthole and hemorrhoids. It's not, sorry, y'all.
I mean, we're doing it.
This is not from behind the butthole. It's just. These
Kelly
are
over
random
here.
requests that Breezy does get occasionally. At least I have.
I get funny requests sometimes. People will say, "Hey, will you turn the football game on?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's on the channel." Well, why isn't it playing? Oh, the commercial? What? You know the game comes back after the commercial? That happened last night. Hey, can we turn the game on? It's on. No, it's not. What, the commercial? I know we're an unplugged society now, We're all cable cutters. You're not used to commercials, but guess what, man? Yeah. Professional sports, there's going to be advertisements.
It's just part of the hurricane problem we're having. We're getting it. We're working past it.
I think so. And, I'll tell the truth. I take pleasure in other people's pain, especially when it comes to their football alliances.
Yeah.
And so Saturday I'm at work, and Georgia has a game at the same time as Alabama versus Vanderbilt has a game.
Oh. Yeah,
so I have to watch most of the Georgia game, but anytime there's a big break, like at the quarters, at the half, I'm flipping back and forth because there's a lot of Alabama fans there.
Yeah.
Now, if Alabama had been up like 21-0 or something like that, I wouldn't have been doing that because it wouldn't have mattered.
Right.
But since the game was close, or Vandy was leading,
I'm not entirely sure Alabama ever led that game.
I don't think they might.
I mean, I was driving that night, but they were behind the entire time.
So you got Vanderbilt 0-60 versus top 5 AP teams all time.
Yeah.
And I had a bunch of Alabama fans up there, all the same ones who were there the week before, watching Alabama, Georgia.
Yeah.
So I'm clicking back and forth, and this is like kind of doing a favor for these people because I didn't have to, but I was vested in it. And they weren't acting like jackasses, like, turn it back on Alabama now. They were happy with what they got. So that was fine.
Right.
But fucking with them and how much they had to say the week before and how little they had to say this week.
Right.
Which, say anything to me, I don't give a shit. Like, it's not going to break my heart whether the team,
Yeah.
I'm not,
You're not so vested that it's going to ruin.
Bricks through the window.
You're not going to kick your dog.
Yeah, the world hasn't ended. I'm not going to hit my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Right.
And but I was soaking in there with delight. I was soaking in how upset they were.
Yeah.
It filled me. Especially because it's like Alabama fans.
Well, when you're obnoxious about things, let's call it sports, whatever your team is, whatever medium it is, baseball, basketball, European football, and all that. If you're that obnoxious, and then when you're on the losing end of it, or could be on the losing end of it, I take joy in it. It's like this. I mean, I'm not saying it's karmic necessarily.
Yeah, because karma's bullshit.
But that being said, I take a little guilty pleasure, and I'm like, ha, and not because that Georgia lost to Alabama, and I like the idea that Vandy just beat Alabama just cause, not because there was some Georgia Bulldog hangover.
Not at all. Yeah.
Oh, we were in a war last week. We were down this week. No, that's not how it works. No,
it happened.
It happened, and it happened to a lot of teams in the top 10 from the SEC this past weekend. It was upset weekend.
I loved it.
I did too. I love the parody of everybody can fall at any given moment. That's the reality.
We're reshuffling the deck, baby.
Yeah, and the teams that lost are the teams that they lost to, because this was one of those benign weekends sports-wise on the schedule. I think only 2 ranked teams played each other, A&M and I think Missouri or whatever. Again, we're not a sports podcast, but I like sports. But it was the only game of between 2 ranked teams, and there was a lot of upsets this weekend, and I love that. You just start thinking we're in the 5th, 6th week of the football season. Right. Trends are starting to set. Think you know what you got? Know what cards you're going to play? No, just no.
Well, and not having such an investment in any of the teams, like, shake it up all you want, man.
Yeah,
and that makes it funner for me.
Well, just being a casual observer. I mean, Clemson's my team and all that, and I've enjoyed their recent success as much as anybody. And we've talked about this endlessly, but I love being a casual observer of the sport where nothing's invested in it, where I can enjoy an upset. I feel a little bad for some of my friends. I mean, I didn't like that Georgia lost to Alabama, but that wasn't an upset.
But the stakes aren't so high where it's going to...
When you can just watch the game for the pure sake of entertainment.
Just for the pageantry.
Yeah.
For the athleticism.
Well, I mean, you're a European football guy. That's your bread and butter and all that. I've got no skin in that game. but I'd love to go to one with you.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
You know, I mean, and I think you'd like to go just to see any probably game.
Yeah, I'd go. Yeah, yeah.
You know, it wouldn't have to be just Atlanta United or.
Yeah, well, I got to see Chelsea and PSG play in North Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah,
but I to view it vicariously through you, it's like Martin who loves MMA and UFC and all that. I don't know jack poop about any of that.
But you can piggyback off of his energy and
Yeah.
his knowledge. Be like, okay, I can see why this is exciting.
Yeah, I mean, watching it on TV is not really as enticing to me as probably seeing it in person.
Yeah.
I'm not nearly as interested, but I've told Martin, I was like, even though we maybe can't go to Vegas to go see a fight or something like that, I mean, there's got to be like some.
They have them all over the place.
Yeah,
They have them all over the place.
Yeah, I've got no problem watching dudes beat each other up. I'd just rather do it in person.
Yeah, because apparently if you can't get a license in some states, like Tennessee, will be like, hey, come over here. We'll do it here.
I mean, I went to a WWF thing back in Savannah back years ago, and just the behind the scenes part of it, the part of the production that goes into it that you don't see, how it's really processed.
I went to one of those way back in the day, and I watched a guy walk out like 4 times.
Right.
Just to get the camera angle, whatever.
Yeah, all these things.
I was like, dude, why is he walking out again?
How the sausage is made.
Yeah.
And, you know, you realize, of course, you know, WWF or whatever, WWE is obviously a scripted soap opera and all that. But, dude, I would love to go to, you know, a football match with you, you know, or I'd love to go to an, you know, ultimate fighting thing with Martin and all that. And I would enjoy it because I've got no real emotional
And I mean, we've
investment
gone to see enough music, you and I personally, in our own lives, where it's like, you know, stepping out and going to see like a sporting event. But, I mean, as much as we've gone and seen music, like it's still the top priority. Mostly, I always get something out of it. No one wins or loses.
Yeah, I mean, before I came to Tybee, we had season tickets to Clemson, and so I've got just a drawer full of Clemson ticket stubs, and I've been to a fair amount of Georgia games, Braves
when
games.
I lived in Athens, I went to pretty much every home game.
Yeah, but the music thing was more making up for a lost time in a world that I lived for about 25 years, Monday through Friday, and I only had, you know, like Loverboy said, working for the fucking weekend, man. And football and most major sports, you know, football mainly is on the weekends. Yeah. And so I saw a lot of that. So the last 12, 13 years on Tybee.
Been all music.
Yeah, more or less. I mean, and I've seen a fair amount leading up to my time here, but not the amount that I've done.
Yeah, you really made up for the lost time.
Yeah, any time I thought I'd lost, I've more than made up for. Trust me.
Well, this past Sunday, Huckapoos did the first Poo Grass Festival, which, so me being a drummer, and we've talked about this many, many times before, I don't like bands without drummers.
Yeah.
Typically. I mean, I'll listen to it. Like, you know, I don't dislike any music except, you know, like new country.
Yeah.
But so I forgot that the Poo Grass Festival was going on, and hopefully we'll continue to do this like once a month or something like that, because it's a nice Sunday afternoon thing. Bluegrass is a music style and volume that's good for being outside early afternoon. Everyone can get into it, especially down here. We're all crackers.
It's well attended too, from what I saw.
It was very well attended. Good. I forgot it was happening.
Yeah.
So it's not so hot anymore where I can't walk to work. So I walk to work. You know, where I'm not completely drenched in sweat by the time I get there. I'm still the sweatiest dude in the world. And I'm walking up, and I forget what's happening, and I hear, show me how you do that trick. But it was like bluegrass style, the Cure. I was like, what a great walk-up song.
Yeah.
And I knew it was Evan's voice, Evan Rose.
Okay.
Fantastic guitar player.
Great name.
Yeah, great name.
Great name.
Yvonne Rose. He's a listener, huh? Shout out, buddy. Yeah, good job. So walked up, and I was like, oh, and it was a ramble-rousing version. Here comes the fucking fiddle. Yeah. And then they had hot chick bass player. You know, that helps. But, you know, couple guitar players, you know, it was just rip-roaring.
Yeah.
And I get up there and finally get to work, and I don't know if they planned this, but whoever did plan it, fucking kudos, because they took their break at shift change. Because if the band hadn't taken a break at shift change, it'd have been a real fucking shit show.
Yeah.
A real curb stomping bluegrass time. Trying to, you know, get in and out, you know. But it was just, we used to do Sunday music at Huckapoos.
Yeah.
And it was an afternoon thing from like 6 to 9. And it's always like a kind of a low-key-ish band, you know. Eric Culberson did it a lot.
It's missed, I'll tell you that.
It's definitely missed, man. And not just for the business sake of it, because by the time I got there, they stopped at like 7:30.
Yeah.
So I wasn't reaping all the the benefits of like, you know, how busy it was because it was dead by like 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
But it just reminded me of how fun during the non-peak season months here.
Yeah.
That a little event like that.
Yeah, I mean, driving breezy the days that I do, especially on Sunday. Maybe not so much now, but earlier on, you know, the local Sunday fun day type thing. A lot of locals had Sundays off, whatever bartending or server job they had or whatever. But it always seemed like they would congregate the poos. There was that afternoon music and all that, and there was a little bit of lament. You know, like if there was, Sunday is one of my bread and butter days. You know, breezy wise, but there was some lament. Like, man, I wish I had Sundays off
to attend the Sunday afternoon
music.
I
mean, or even Saturday nights, depending on what band's playing, that kind of thing. You know, I mean, this past Saturday especially, you know, getting some guys from Turtle Folk together and little buddy Brandon
they were
Coleman
great too,
and all that. But you know, Sunday was it's a tricky dynamic because I make good money on Sundays, but I miss a lot of things locally because
a little FOMO about it.
Yeah. But I remember those Sundays. Finally, I'd pull up just for a minute, and there'd be somebody in that corner right there by the big fan.
It's great, man.
Yeah,
I've done that gig a few times.
Yeah,
it used to be like Eric Culverson was pretty much locked in, and then other bluegrass bands from around town because you know there's a certain style of music that you want to have when you're outside, but which if you adhere to, like if you get good bands, playing those styles of music, it can work for an afternoon set, outside set. But there's a place down here, right down the road from me, that doesn't quite fucking get that. And they'll have bands that are like singer-songwriter stuff, but it'll be so goddamn loud.
Yeah.
You can hear it from here.
Yeah.
And I'm never going to bitch about, you know, bands being loud because I have no...
Be a little hypocritical.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but what I do care about is you got to read the room. Even if it's a singer-songwriter up there, you got to look around and be like, we don't need to put everything on 11.
Yeah.
Like, how can a band at one place with a drummer and everything keep it at a good volume? And then, you know, you got two guys, you know, playing a guitar and singing, and it's like...
Well, when I was driving that day, I was taking a dude up to Huckapoo's because he just wanted some poo pizza. You know, just had to have it. He was visiting, was back, loved the place, loved the pizza, but wasn't expecting the bluegrass to get down. And he wasn't a fan. Musically, it's just not a genre. We didn't have a whole lot of time to break down what do you like, you know, whatever classics. He was an older fella, older than me, but he was just like, I couldn't wait to get my pizza and get the hell out of there as fast as I could.
Really? Yeah, man. I guess it's pretty divisive.
He goes, he put it as such as like it's a cheese grater on my brain listening to it.
Hey, I get that, man.
Yeah,
because there's certain things that sound like that.
No, I mean, and I wish I had more time with him to be like,
well, what do you typically listen to?
Where's the animosity from this? Is your ex-wife, or was there something done to you, or the certain song playing, where you can't get over it? And typically, it's not my favorite genre. I mean, but I don't have a favorite genre.
Right.
You know, I mean,
I'm not going to pigeonhole myself into one genre of music.
Well, like String Cheese Incident covers a lot of ground, you know. But when they first got going, they were a bluegrass band.
Yeah.
You know, and they're very good at it.
Yeah.
But you know, but they can go from there to a lot of other things, and they do and have, and I've seen them do it. Yeah. It's great, and they're great that way. But I do like, you know, Green Sky Bluegrass, which I always called them Green Ski Bluegrass for whatever reason.
It looks that way. It looks like
Green
Ski.
They did. I'm not sure if it was a full album cover. Why is it going thumbs down? What was that? Did you see
We're
that?
good.
Okay. There's just a little thumbs up bubble, thumbs down bubble. Anyway, but I don't know if they did the entire Pink Floyd album, Dark Side of the Moon. It's back again. Now it's thumbs up. You seen that?
Oh, what the hell?
Sorry,
I didn't see that. No, okay.
Sorry, y'all.
Yeah, keep going. Well, you'll see it on the video.
But I don't know if they did the entire album, but certain hulas, when they played there, they would cover
they would
songs.
do like full 70s sets.
But I love when another genre takes a song from another genre.
And like I said, I walked up to The Cure. Yeah.
Like Dub Side of the Moon, the reggae version.
Yeah, that's a great album.
Yeah. When I first came to Tybee, when I was hanging out at Sandbar, when I met my core group of friends, you know, that was played a lot. And I was like, what a great vision and version to take it that way.
Right.
And you're not mad about it. No. It's a reggae version of Dark Side of the Moon.
And it's great. And it fits.
And everybody's heads just, no one's mad about it.
It's like the Grey album where they mix like the Beatles with something else, with the Black album, something like that. It's just like, it's cool when there's some music that isn't meant to be taken in another direction, you know? But think about every great Joe Cocker song was a song done by someone else that he made really great. Like, you can leave your hat on.
Yeah.
That was written by Randy fucking Newman.
Yeah.
And the original version is like, you can't take off your do.
Yeah.
And then Cocker comes on, you know,
about having a stroke.
Well, yeah, exactly. But that's taken in a direction that's like, you know, get by with a little help from our friends. You've heard the original Beatles version?
Yeah.
It's like a children's song.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then when Cocker does it, he cocks it up, baby. He puts the cock.
Cock, sure.
Yeah.
But I love a unique go at things, and it took me a while to watch the movie No Hard Feelings, but it's about this girl that dates this kid that parents pay the girl to date the kid and all that, and he plays piano, he plays Maneater, and it's just him on the piano, but it's a very down tempo, poetic version of it, and you're thinking, not that the song couldn't go that way anyway, you know, but it's a bouncy '80s song, you know.
You're a cunt.
But you know, but then when you apply the lyrics, they were the way they were in the movie, with just the piano, slower,
a little bit of a different meaning,
a little more drippy.
Johnny Cash doing "Hurt." The Nine Inch Nails song was about heroin addiction.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden Johnny Cash does it. Now it's about recapping your life.
And Reznor, Trent Reznor, to his credit, has basically
it's his song
said
now.
It's a song now because of his take on it. Yeah.
We all need changes sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta put your foot in the pool, dip your toe in the water.
Yeah. Not just the ocean.
Yeah. Put your keister in the wind.
Yeah.
Get your head in the clouds or out of them. Either way.
Yeah.
So I was laying in bed the other day. I said, you know what, man? Since my shifts at Pooh's are going to be a little less fruitful.
Oh, going into the winter months.
Time
to stash some nuts.
Yeah, well, sort of, yeah, or gather more.
Gather more, yeah.
So I was just, I went on to the Google.
The Google?
The Google on my phone. And I typed in part-time job Savannah. And unlike the recipes shit, I found, you know, and one popped up for the Bird Cookie Company, BYRD.
Yeah.
And the job description, and it's part-time, which is great. The job description was like, if you work in the front of the building, you're like sales associate, you carry heavy boxes around, you know, your customer service, all that stuff. Like really shit that I'd really like to, and it's like physical and you got to move around a lot. And just having a reason to get up and go somewhere.
Yeah.
That's not just Huckapoo's every day.
Yeah.
Just to maybe, you know, be in the world a little bit more, because I'm pretty isolated down here. I go to work, and that's pretty much all of my social life, unless I have a gig where, you know, or unless I'm recording someone here in the studio, which I've been doing a little bit of lately.
Yeah, that's good.
But I mean, but the thing is, you apply for everything online now. Apparently, I haven't looked for a job in 15 years.
Yeah,
you know, so
things have changed.
So I'm looking at my resume, or you know,
you'll probably do a Zoom interview. You probably.
I would love that actually, because I don't come across like, all right, if you look at my quote unquote resume, what I wrote to him was like, well, I've worked the same job for 15 years.
That's a good thing.
Which is, you know, that's a positive thing.
Yeah.
But then like, I was like, do I include that I'm Pro Tools certified, that I run a podcast, that I run a studio, that I stretch canvases?
You know my thoughts on it. I told you coming up.
Yeah,
I said yes on all that.
I just didn't know if it was pertinent or not. But I need like, you don't hire me from the piece of paper. You hire me if you.
Well, back in my
face-to-face.
back in my old resume days, you know, you basically there was another interest type of thing. You had your cover letter, just explaining why you wanted the job in the first place, you know, that kind of thing, and then you get down to the point by point of what you were capable of doing and all that, and then amongst that, maybe 3 other things that have nothing to do with the job. You know, what do you like to do? Well, snow skiing, water skiing, camping, whatever the case may be, that kind of thing. You know,
boofing hot potatoes.
You know, doing heavy drugs at festivals.
Oh,
you know,
right.
which you might want to leave off, but.
Oh, really?
But but I think anything that shows any sort of fortitude, you know, something you continually do is an attractive feature
to show you have accountability, that you show up for things.
Yes, absolutely. So, not that I wish you'd ran it by me, but I would have been like, yes.
Well, I mean, I can
things.
still adjust the application thing.
Yeah.
You know, you can, because with ZipRecruiter or whatever, because apparently, like, I mean, I want to just drive over there. But anyways, here's how shit normally works. Hey, anybody out there? Do you know anybody from Bird Cookie Company?
Yeah.
Holler at me.
Well, I mean, it helps to have connections.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, anything I've ever accomplished in the creative world, it's literally only because I know the guitar player from that band or the engineer from this thing.
Yeah.
a lot of it is just connections, because there's a lot of better drummers and shit out there or whatever.
But as an
they'd
aside,
rather work with someone cool.
Well, as an aside on your resume, like I know you're attempting to make some focaccia bread. Put that on there.
I don't want to be like I make. I don't want to get.
Dude, well, I'm not saying you're a baker, but just like, but stuff like that. Yeah. I'm telling you, those are things that grab people's attention.
Right,
I mean, it's these little things because there are so many resumes that come across people's desks depending on the job, and it's the little subtleties. I know you're applying for the job either because you know
what you're
minimal
with it, man.
But if you have this little tick, like, oh, and by the way, I love baking bread.
Right. Yeah.
That could get you in the door. It's like they talk about your bona fides. Yeah. And then, just a curious question before you leave. The bread thing, and then you go into this maybe story of why and
in the
how.
Summer of 1994, my Italian grandmother showed me the focaccia recipe of a life.
Something, on a tattered index card. I
should write a blog for a fucking website and never put the recipe
I'm telling
on
you,
there.
So it's those little things that when you're just shuffling through those resumes, and these days via computer.
I didn't think about that, man. After we get done with the podcast, I'm gonna.
Well, I'm not trying to,
No, but you're right though. I need to
bump it up, man.
I need to bump it up.
It's not lying. It's just
I'm gonna put everything on there. Yeah.
I'm applying for this job because I know I can do this job or want to do this job.
Here are my other interests.
There's other asides.
My eyes are up here.
Yeah, I'm telling you, the podcast. I'm not sure how the focaccia is going to pan out, but
we'll see. I
want to be here for the tasting.
I have 650 grams of flour to 400 grams of water. Do you want the recipe?
Yes, I do.
2 tablespoons of active dry yeast. Tablespoon of salt. 2 tablespoons of sugar.
I think Mom and Joe have a bread maker in the closet somewhere.
See, that's the thing.
You just throw the ingredients in, and then
that's the thing. This no need focaccia is no need. There's no need.
Wait.
I'm sorry. You still getting?
I don't know.
Still getting the thumbs up.
But no, every job I ever got, especially when I was in graphic design, I got through the door because SCAD was on my resume, and SCAD was a baby back then. It was barely 2 decades old, but it was bona fide enough. Yeah. And but it got my name through the door and all that. But there was the other sides that, like, well, what do you do when you're not sitting in front of a computer? That kind of thing.
Right, yeah. Well, and I imagine a lot of it is like, okay, obviously you're there doing your job, but 90% of your job is not actually, it's working with, engaging and interacting with the people around you.
Well, if your 3 points of other interests are based around another job entirely, then they might ask you, well, why don't you just become a baker? Right? Because it seems like that's where your heart really is. Right. Or open up a catering business or something horseshit like that. But having 3 or 4 varied things helps. Just it's insight into your
I understand
psyche.
It's just so weird. I'm not a self-promoter, so we'd be like, well, all right, let's pretend.
When you're applying for a job, you have to be.
I got it, man. It's so not in me. Because let's be realistic. If I really wanted to fudge it all and make mountains out of molehills of the things I do, I'd be like, well, I've been a professional drummer for this long. Yeah. I've been a professional guitar player for this long. I work in a studio. I do short form. I could jazz. I could church all of it up. I do short form videos for marketing for my own personal brand on Instagram.
Yeah. Well, a part-time gig is one thing. I mean, if you're talking like a career identifying thing to make money, that's one thing. Yeah. But you're talking about a part-time thing, so it's not like you can't. You can still have it all. It's like, well, my heart passion is music and the podcast and doing these other types of things in that realm. But this is something else to kind of, like you said, stash some nuts away for the winter and continue
Top up
on.
The income a little bit.
Yeah,
and get me off the island a little
expand the horizons, as it were.
Yeah, because there's probably a million things that I don't see in the world because I don't pass by them in my car.
Brother, just going downtown to My Morning Jacket show last Monday, and for me, it was as guilty a pleasure as I've had going to see music ever. Yeah. Because of what was going on all around us.
Right.
And
you're feeling kind of bad that you're watching one of your favorite bands live. While
3 hours
there's
away,
devastation around us.
Yeah, 3 hours away, my family's sitting in darkness.
Have power.
Yeah, there was. Usually if I go to a show, it's I'm happy to go out of spite. Like, fuck you, I'm going.
Yeah, right.
You're not keeping me in tonight. But in this one moment, I went to the rail, had a shot of tequila, just cause. It's not my favorite thing in the world, but it gets the job done. Loosens, And I wasn't feeling any real anxiety about seeing anybody there. I ran into Brandon and BG and a few other people and all that, and it was nice. But, I was there to see them, jacket, and then get back to Tybee. Not go down there and get drunk, party, do a bunch of drugs and all that. And not that those are bad things, but just going downtown, going to the Rail.
Yeah.
You know, which the Rail, when you walk in, you don't realize it's a much bigger place in that front room, you know. But they don't know me from Adam. It was nice. It was refreshing to give them a credit card,
right?
You know, and not be bona fide right off the rip.
And them not ask you right away or give you exactly what you want.
Yeah,
right
no,
like, here's your high life.
Yeah, but you know, I did that, and it was a nice subtle reminder that while Tybee is great and affords us many wonderful things,
yeah,
there's another world out there.
There's another thing that's a component for my wanting to leave the nest a little bit. And I've denied that it's happened for so long, but there's a thing that happens to me. So in my world, my two main jobs are talking. Pretty much, you know.
Right.
I'm at work, I'm talking to people. I'm here, I'm talking to you, you know, and, you know, the listeners. I go 4 and 5 days without seeing anyone and talking to anyone. So my normal, like, funny-ish, witty-ish self, you know, when I'm good at, you know, back and forth, it takes me like 2 hours to get that warmed up whenever I'm back in public again or back at work.
Yeah.
So people will be like, "Hey, how you been?" I'm like, "Yeah, okay." Hell yeah, and I'll run away because I don't have a good answer at that moment.
Yeah.
An hour or two later, when I'm, you know, talked a bunch and like my literal, you know, voice box isn't warm. I won't speak for 3 days at the time sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I don't have anyone to speak to. I choose not to.
Well, and talking to yourself is probably not the most healthy thing.
I quit that a long time ago.
Well, as long as you don't answer.
Yeah, well, I quit both.
But I understand what you're talking about.
So it's like revving an engine back up. You know, you got to get it where it's, you know, cranking the car in the cold. And I have this idea that people have this impression of me on like 5 o'clock on Saturday afternoons. Like, who the fuck is this guy? He can't even talk. It's like, I haven't spoken, you know?
Yeah.
It'll be weird. I'm like, hello, and we're back.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so that'll be a function of like talking to people once a day, at least every day.
Yeah, I think it would be a good thing.
Dude, just a social interaction.
Well, for anybody that just lives exclusively and works exclusively on Tybee, just a reminder that, now, obviously we know there's a road on and off the island and all that. You're not stuck here. You know, it's a gilded cage to some degree, maybe if you look at it that way.
Yeah.
But you know,
well, it's easy to isolate and be, you know, preserved in the amber down here.
We more or less have everything we need out here.
For sure.
For the most part.
Yeah, my bank has an ATM that I can put money into down here.
I mean,
so that was one of the last things.
Yeah.
Literally.
When I first came to Tybee, we had a little pharmacy. You know, we had the auto shop.
Oh, man. That
pharmacy. We had a vet out here.
You could, once every 4 months, you could go get codeine cough syrup from there.
Yeah, exactly.
Over the counter.
Now, there are certain things you have to leave the island for. That's unfortunate, but that's the way the world works. You know what I mean? At the IGA,
my morning jacket ain't coming down here.
No, I wish they would.
That'd be great.
I wish they would, but it was a great show. I kept my head down. Not because I didn't really want to interact with anybody.
You didn't want to speak to an associate?
No, I just, sometimes I don't mind going with a squad. You know, it can be fun and all that. But in this moment, it was in my own mind, because what was going on around. Like I said, there was a little bit of guilt. Not that I would have bailed on it, because me and my friend Hillary and Rudy were going to go see old George Clinton and the mothership.
That got canceled.
And that got canceled because of power and all that sort of stuff. It made sense. So I was really surprised that they pulled off, you know, that following Monday, the show. Right. Because by all accounts, it probably shouldn't have happened. Yeah. And it would have been understandable as a band saying, you know what, even though there's still spots in Savannah that don't have power and people do, and we have power, whatever, and all that, I would have understood. But like I said, just down the road in Augusta, where I've got immediate family, I'm trying, you know,
it's like eating a steak in front of the homeless guy.
Yeah, it's like, it kind of felt that way.
Him
it kind of felt that way
to eat the steak,
and the band acknowledged it. You know, they did bring up like, hey, you know, we realize things are kind of messed up around here. You know, thanks for being here. And it wasn't a remotely sold out crowd and all that, but they bring it like they always do. They're one of the greater live bands I've ever seen.
Yeah,
I mean, they
don't take nights off.
Yeah, they don't acknowledge. If there was 10 of us in there, they wouldn't have acknowledged it at all. Which there was more people here. You know, wasn't anything like that.
Hey, glad you guys are here.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they were in town maybe the day before, and so they got the chance to check out Savannah because they, you know, they don't seem like Jim James doesn't seem that kind of guy that would lie and be like, never been to Savannah before, didn't realize how beautiful a little town you got here. You know, we're going to come back as soon as we
so
can.
that was some of the banter talking about the beauty of the
yeah, you know,
city.
and then with everything else, and then you realize, you know, is obviously with everything, and that's when it went into the little soliloquy about, you know, obviously there's shit going on around here, so thanks for being here.
Hey man, we got problems in the world today. You know what I'm saying? But guess what? We're out here together, man. We're gonna ride.
But it wasn't that hokey.
I know,
it wasn't.
Man. Let me have my fun.
Don't cheapen it.
Let me have my fun.
No, you're
Kelly.
not cheap. Don't cheapen that moment.
Kelly. We're over there talking about buttholes in football. That's not even the type of podcast this is.
I've got guilt on my mind. My folks are in their 80s sitting in the dark, and here I am listening to My Morning Jacket bring me a steam engine.
Mind, fresh glass of wine.
I'm getting fucking a steam engine that was a monster, man. You know, the band, you know, it was a short show. I was kind of surprised. Usually they're two plus hours, but they barely played 2 hours. But nonetheless, it was the first time I've ever gone into a show conflicted. Just a tad.
Oh, Kelly.
Just wanted to see the music, baby. It made me feel good, but as soon as it was over, I was back in the car and back on Tabby.
I want to say congratulations to the Pirate Fest King, Mr. Ron Gurkurchuk from the Breezy Riders.
Yes,
He's
he
the
is.
owner, operator of Breezy Riders. And I'm not a Pirates Fest guy, and we'll talk about it next week after it happens.
Yeah.
I'm kind of against Pirate Fest. I think it's fucking stupid.
Oh,
It's just a reason for people to act like jerk-offs. I talk about it every year on this podcast.
It's every holiday.
I mean, sort of.
I mean, Halloween's
But this is
no
a made-up
different.
fucking holiday.
I mean, Halloween's no different. All of a sudden, it's like, okay, I can dress like a slut, or I can dress.
Whatever,
I don't
man.
know. I mean,
Stop marginalizing people. I'll do that.
Okay. Well, I think it's great for Ron. I know he was a little.
But he's into that pirate shit, right?
No, I don't think so. I don't.
I'm into booty.
Well, yeah. I mean, he maybe acts like a pirate and all that. I think he's a great ambassador, emissary for this
I
event.
think he is too. Yeah, I think he is too.
But I think he was a little. I think when he was named, and I think it came out in the Beachcomber, the local magazine here, that he was a little reticent at first, not to didn't want to do it or like no, find somebody else. But I think he's embraced it now. Now that he's been dressed up,
is that why he's been wearing the eye makeup the past couple of days?
For whatever reason. But I think he's embraced it. You know,
eyeliner.
I don't know if it's an honor, you know, or whatever. But I think
I just think he's into that sort of thing.
He's into a good time.
Sure, yeah.
You know, but
and I understand it's a good time. They had Eddie Money come down and not play one time because he was too drunk. I mean, I get it. It's a great time.
Yeah.
You get a bunch of people down on the south end of the island and trash the place, and nothing comes of it. It's great. I love it.
I don't. Okay.
I love people wasting time dressing up like.
I disagree. I just do. I think anything that
Be
brings,
racist all you want,
I think anything that involves more than a lawn chair, an umbrella, and a beach ball that happens to this island is a good thing. I'm sorry, and I'm glad that we feel differently about this.
Agree to disagree.
I know you were concerned about the water table during Beach Bum and all that crap. Where I view it as a ultimate day to beat the crap out of anybody with a water gun that you think has it coming without going to jail over it.
Yes.
So if Pirate Fest means you get around, I mean, I just want to wear a T-shirt that just literally says R.
R, racist.
No, dummy. God, forget it. You know.
Well, but congratulations to Ron anyway.
Yes.
I'm sure it's an honor in some dumb fucking circle.
He's not going to put a plaque on his wall, but man, it's fun. I mean, I'm not going to dress up in it, but you know,
Wait, so you're not going to participate?
I got to drive. I got to be in the middle of that horse shit. But
it's horseshit. Yes.
But it's any other holiday. It's horseshit because they're going to put up cones. There's a parade, and it's going to make my job much harder for the next 3 days than it normally is.
Well, what's great is I think
that's the horseshit of it.
I think there's going to be some sanctions took now that wouldn't have been taken before because the city of Tybee is trying to not act like they're so racist that they only put up cones for Orange Crush.
Yeah, they've done it for everything.
Yeah, so now everything's subsequent. Yeah. Which, I mean, I get how it looks because the impetus of putting the cones up for Orange Crush was to slow the tide.
Sure.
And stop as many young black people from coming down here as they possibly could. But now they're sort of, backtracking a little bit like, oh, we got to do that for all.
Well, and then there's
like
the raw practical reality that you need to be able to get people off this island if they're in a state of emergency.
100%, yeah.
It has nothing to do with being drunk.
Right, yeah.
You know, I mean, seriously, I mean, I understand it. It's
We're a small island. We just can't take a certain amount of people.
Yeah.
Regardless of who they are.
And if it wasn't for what I do driving Breezy, honestly, I could care less about the cones. It has nothing to do. And I don't think Poos is affected by it at all.
Not really.
If anything, Poos is a dumping ground. If there's a wreck between here and Bull River,
it's a dumping ground for a lot of
everybody's but people are going to be pouring into y'all's place. So, but driving Breezy logistically, it's a huge pain in the ass. You know, I mean, especially if you can't go down 16th Street.
Yeah, when it's cold up, you guys can't drive.
Yeah, I mean,
when it's cold up, it's just pointless.
And it infuriates Ron to no end.
But he's the king of it this year, buddy.
Yeah, the irony is not lost on me, and I don't know if it's lost on him. But
I don't know if he's realized it yet.
No, but
he's like, well, I can't drive anyway.
I think he kind of does.
I mean, I don't know
because he's tried to make a point by not driving on 4th of July,
right?
To remind now, granted, not that Breezy swings the needle that much, but I think it was to make a point.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, well, it's like you don't want to make it this hard.
Well, remember when the power was out and Verizon was out? Someone asked you. They go, man, Breezy hadn't answered my call in the past 3 days.
Ron hasn't answered my calls.
The fucking power's out.
I'm on the blacklist and I get cut off, and I'm like, dude.
That's like, hey, could you turn the game on? It is on.
Yeah.
Well, you know what that kind of sounds like?
Oh shit!
It's the
Karen of the week. It's the Darren of the week.
Oh, shit. We got a guy. He's a Darren of the week. This week, Darren of the week is brought to you by Inferno Hot Sauce Emporium. Visit them. They're right across the street from Huckapoo's. For all your hot sauce needs, get hot. Don't be a twat. Now, there's a gentleman that comes to Poo's all the time, to my work, all the time. And I let him I give him space and carte blanche to do things. Okay. One is every new woman that ever walks in the door, he attempts to make some sort of alliance with in some sort of way. Like, hey, you want a shot? Hey, you new to town? So he's like the ambassador you don't want. But he's harmless enough in most respects. So there's a thing he does, like anybody new, a woman, he's going to chat him up a little bit. And I'll let him kind of bark a little bit. I never answer when he barks, but he's always like, Paxton. But I never look until I'm ready to look.
Of course.
Because I'm not going to give him that.
Yeah.
I draw the line.
Yeah.
But I do make his drinks as quickly as possible, you know. Like, he treats me pretty well most times. And so the other night, a couple of new women patrons are in there. This wasn't this past weekend, but the weekend before. And he's like, yeah, just tell Paxton what you want. It's like she gets how to fucking walk up to a bar and ask the bartender for a drink.
Oh, okay.
So he's like trying to direct her a little bit, but he's trying to impress her in some sort of way. Like, oh, I know this guy. I know this place. They love me here. All that shit, whatever.
Right.
So she orders a couple things, and she goes, you know what? I want these 2 drinks, but I do want to get a pizza to go as well. You want to just, I was like, hey, you just pay for it. You know, I was like, you can just pay for it when the to-go order comes out. You know, like, I'll put the 2 drinks you just got on my little notebook over here.
Got my thing,
and I'll write, you know, I trust you, you know, like, I can run faster than you, I'm pretty sure. Like, they're new there. They're not going to walk out, you know, without their pizza or with it, you know. Yeah. I can catch anyone who's trying to keep a pizza safe in their hands, trying to run away. You know, anyone can. But, you know, I just don't get the feeling that she's going to run out on her tab. Okay. You know, I ain't worried about it like that. Yeah. So some time passes. He's trying to chat her up. Her food comes out. I think it was like $30 altogether. The pie was 20, and one of the drinks was 6, one of the drinks was 4, whatever. So I go, it's $30. She starts going through her money. She's like, all right. Okay, so here's 33. I got some more cash down in the purse. She gives me the 33. I'm like, yeah, I mean, whatever. Even if you only tip $3, I don't care. It is what it is. She was nice, whatever. So put the 30 in the drawer, put the 3 in my tip drawer, and she starts pulling out more money. And Buddy, that's over here trying to impress, is like, hey, you already tipped him. And I was like, number one, take your mouth off my money.
Yeah.
Okay? No concern of yours. But I didn't need to express any of this because she looked at him like, are you fucking serious, dude? Yeah. Any goodwill that he built with her up until that moment of trying to be an ambassador was all out the window because she looked at him like, you're a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah.
Tell me not to tip someone?
Yeah.
So she pulls out another like $10. She's like, here you go. Like while staring him in the eye, like, here you go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I was getting there probably without your help. or you're being called out on it.
Yeah, number one, I know how to order from a bar.
Yeah.
Number two, I know how much I want to or not want to tip someone.
Yeah.
Hey, you already tipped them. Take your fucking mouth off my money, dude.
Yeah, even if it is just $3.
And
and that's not even just if. It is
whatever.
What it is.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And I know you've dealt with some of the same. Like you had one a couple weeks ago where the guy's like, "Are you sure you want to give him that 50?
Yeah.
Give him the 20 instead." It's like, you fucking cock blocking. Yeah. So
yeah. I mean, I wasn't
take
taking
your mouth
advantage
off
of
my
drunk
money,
dude. Yeah. This was just a genuine, honest, exchange of goods, and I get it. Riding breezy is $5.
Yeah.
There's nothing that says you have to give us a dime more.
Right.
I hate to say that out loud.
Yeah, of course.
But the reality is you call, we come. We show up.
We arrive.
We arrive at the destination and get to the next one as expeditiously as possible. But there's nothing that says for one person to give me $20.
Yeah.
They might have a story of why.
Yeah.
I've had 4 DUIs. This is way cheaper. Whatever. And I've heard that more times than I can tell you.
For sure. Yeah.
But having somebody chime up who's not part of the transaction
the
at
actual
all.
Transaction. Are you sure you're going to give them that much?
Or Mr. Helper in the car who says they have to.
Right. Yeah.
Because
it goes both ways.
Oh, they say 5, but it's really 10.
They're both just as egregious because I've had people be like, "That's all you're going to tip them."
Yeah.
It's like, number one, they're going to think I implored you to say something like that, or and I didn't. Number two, once you say that to someone, do you think they're going to come back the next time and be like, "Oh, sorry, man"?
Yeah.
No, they're not.
None of the three of you look good in that point.
Nobody does
because of Mr. Helper.
Yeah. Mr. I do the
now
helper,
she feels like
the sequel you didn't want.
Yeah, I was going to tip him more. I was just trying to find the other money. You got you looking like I expect more because Mr. Helper over here.
Mr. Helper over here, he obviously he's one of my emissaries that I have out there.
Yeah, he's directing traffic
me more
for
money.
You.
Yeah, what the fuck?
And then now he's an asshole just for his input that it was not needed at all.
At all. We don't need your help, buddy.
So a trifecta of
take your mouth off my money.
Yeah.
Take your mouth off my money.
Damn right. Unless you use your mouth to make money.
Put your finger on the like and subscribe button on YouTube. We're also on Instagram. And we are on Patreon, patreon.com/From Behind the Barcast. Thank you guys for listening this week. And don't tell people how to order drinks at the bar. We're all adults. We're capable of it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
I love you, buddy. And we'll see y'all next week. I got pizza from that.
You did great. You did great.